April is a really exciting time for any gardener because things are really getting moving this month. You know, all the bulbs are coming up, you're seeing all the sprouts, all the blossom. It's really exciting. It's also really easy to get carried away and sow too many things when the weather can be a little bit problematic. So I'm going to be talking you through what you can sow now and what I personally will be sowing, and also how to protect your crops and what to think about when you are sowing things and what you're putting out and what you're having indoors. So if you've not already subscribed to my channel, if you could please do so, because I'll give you lots of helpful hints and tips all throughout the year from your home garden, your allotment, and also the home kitchen. So first of all, I'm going to be showing you what you can sow and also what I'm going to be sowing myself and what I've sown already. So let's take a look down here. I have a little diary where I make a note of everything I sow each year. And like I said, we've had a particularly mild start to the year this year, so it's really easy to get lulled into a false sense of security and plant things out when it really isn't warm enough, or it can be warm enough but then we can get a really harsh frost. Like this weekend in particular, I've got some things out in my greenhouse. My greenhouse isn't heated, so I will be bringing them back indoors into my conservatory so that they don't get ruined by the frost, because the last thing you want to do is start off your plants and then to lose them to the frost. So the things you could be starting off are, so if you've not already started some tomatoes off, you really need to get some in now. These will obviously need to be frost free, so either indoors or in a heated greenhouse, or keep an eye on the frost, because obviously you could keep them in your greenhouse if it's not heated, but if you think there's going to be any frost then you need to bring them in really. Now you can be direct sowing things like radishes, chard, beetroot and carrots if you're in a really sheltered spot. Now where I am at my allotment, it's not that sheltered, so I will wait until May until I direct sow these into the ground. But if you want to, you could start some of these off in module trays in a heated environment. I've actually started off some chard, but I haven't started the rest off because I personally don't think you get that much further ahead, so I won't be planting them. But if you're somewhere where it's quite mild, you could sow them direct into the ground or indoors. You could also be starting off some herbs as well. So there's a selection of herbs there. We've got chives, dill, mint, thyme, garlic, marjoram, parsley and basil. So again, you'd want to keep that somewhere frost free if you did start those off. So things that I will definitely be starting off myself towards the end of April personally, because I traditionally go away for half term, so I'll wait until I get back, are my French beans. So towards the end of April I'll be starting off my French beans. I'll be starting those off indoors in little module trays. So I'll definitely be starting those off. I generally go for climbing French beans because I think you get more, you know, more for the space that you've got. That's one of my favourite varieties, ones where you get a mixture of different colours. So I will also be starting off various squashes. So I've got mashed potato squash, which is one I've never grown before. I've got sunshine squash. I've also got spaghetti squash, and I've got various other squashes here as well. I've got Turk's turban, table queen, good old-fashioned butternut, and also sweet dumpling. And I will also be starting off courgettes, and again I've got a mixture here of black beauty, golden zucchini, Lebanese, yellow scallop, patty green, and also Denise, a fruit, if I pronounce that correctly. So it's really nice to do a variety of squashes and courgettes because it just adds a lot of different variety to your plate. You'll find that no squash is the same, all the different types and all the different courgettes, they've all got a slightly different flavour, slightly different texture, and it just makes for a much more interesting plate of food when you go to eat them. It's also quite fun as well. Something else I quite like growing is these little lovely cucamelons. So I'll be starting those off towards the end of April. They're little, they're actually really quite, they look like miniature melons, but they are really only about that big, and they kind of grow a bit like a grapevine. They kind of trail, so they're quite lovely. And I will start off some traditional cucumbers as well on top of that. Something else which is a really good thing to start off in April will be sweet corn. So I'll be starting those off towards the end of the month, like I say. You could start them off sooner, but you've got to look after them for a little while, and they do come on quite quickly once they start to grow. So towards the end of April, beginning of May, I will be starting those off too. There's also a few other bits over here. So salad leaves, if you've not already started off salad leaves, I've got a mixture there. So leaf salad mix, La Rosso, and also rocket. So I've already got some rocket in my garden, but I have started off some salad leaves, and they're in my greenhouse at the moment. They're a little bit hardier actually than things like tomatoes and my brassicas. So things like my lettuce and things like that, even though it's going to be a little bit frosty, my greenhouse, they should still be okay. They can take a little bit of frost, so I will leave those out in my greenhouse. And also things like spring onions, you could start some spring onions off as well if you wanted to, but again, I'll wait till May before I do those. The other things you can start off, if you've not already got them in the ground, is you can put your onion sets in now. Mine are all already in. And also you can start putting your potatoes in. So obviously you need to chip them first, which I've done already, and I've put my potatoes in the ground, so you could start doing those as well if that's something you've not done. And I do hope that this is going to inspire you to get sowing in the month of April. If you can let me know what you're doing and your thoughts on how you look after your crops and how you fare with frosts and what you do to look after them, I'd be really interested to know.